Ladies and gentlemen, his name is Lloyd Stanbury. OD, he's a Jamaican music industry professional with a wide range of international experience.
Easy.
Ladies and gentlemen, his expertise includes entertainment law practice, artist management, music production, event promotion, research, creative industry policy development, and also lecturing.
Easy.
Ladies and gentlemen, he started his journey into the music, business in the year 1983.
Easy.
How old were you by then? How old were you by then?
Easy.
Listen to me, man. Sometimes when I bug the elders like this, I have to pay attention and listen to wisdom. You know what I mean?
Easy.
We did it last week with President Kennedy Mensah with music publishing.
Easy.
And this week, we have Lloyd also with us. Now, ladies and gentlemen, he was part of the people that established, the world's first all-reggae radio station in Jamaica. That is IRA FM in 1990.
Easy.
You think I play a thing?
Easy.
You think I yappings?
Easy.
Matter for some boy figure whoppings.
Easy.
Ladies and gentlemen, everything is everything and everything is all right. Now, he's an attorney for the following artists. We're talking about Chronix, Protogy, Agent Sasco, Half Pint, Steely and Clevie, Kumar, and Queen Africa.
Easy.
So no wonder he's been sending me a lot of, materials from Kumar.
Easy.
I now understand and I now get the 1-2-1-2. Let's go on Zoom and reason with the one and only Lloyd Stanbury.
Easy.
Lloyd, how you doing?
Hi, how are you? I'm doing all right. And you?
Yeah, man. I'm fantastic. everything good with me, How is the vibe, at your end in terms of, weather and all that, because we've seen the snow and all that kind of thing. I don't know whether your end you're experiencing that and all that.
No snow here. It never snows in Florida, which is where I am. Warm, getting a little cooler. So the weather is good. The atmosphere, well, all around the world, not so good. Too much war and fighting and animosity among man and man,
Easy.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Legends Corner with Lloyd Stanbury. Now, Lloyd, I want you to tell us who exactly you are. Now, mind you, we are live on 4 radio stations across the country, Ghana. 99.5 in Accra, 98.5 in Kumasi, 100.3 in Cape Coast, and 99.7 in the northern region, Tamale. And over 30 million people are listening to you right now.
Easy.
So, another joke song, you see me? Yeah, man. Now, Lloyd, I want you to tell us who you are. I've said a bit, but I don't want to jump to the gun. You understand me? I don't want to tell the lion story. The lion must tell its own what? Story.
Well, I am never usually one to, as they say, blow my own trumpet, so to speak. But I have spent most, if not all of my adult life, representing on behalf of artists in particular in the reggae music business, as an attorney, as a music business consultant. And I have taught, lectured, had workshops, for persons involved in the business of music. And I ultimately got to the point where I wrote a book called Reggae Roadblocks, a music business development perspective. So I would describe myself as a missionary on behalf of the rights of, persons who create music. That is what I've spent my life basically doing and advocating on behalf of, creative persons, particularly in the music industry. So that's how I would want to describe myself, really.
All right. So let's kind of channel everything to music. Now, how do you represent an artist? Do they come to you or you go to them? How does it work?
I don't typically go to artists. When I go to an artist, I go to the artist as a fan. But as a professional person who is involved in the music business, I'll be approached by artists, to represent them, mostly to provide legal advice, or in some instances to provide management representation. So I'm typically approached by artists, and I'm approached by other persons in the music industry, artist managers, event promoters, persons involved in the media, music producers, to provide advice and guidance. Yeah, that's the relationship I typically have, with artists and persons involved in the music industry. I'm usually approached by them to provide my services, my advice, my representation.
Oh, all right. All right. That's nice. So basically, the artists rather walk up to you and.
I'm hardly hearing you.
Oh, you can hear me good now?
It's very low, but I can hear you. Somehow the volume just went down. I don't know why.
Oh, all right.
It's good now. It's good now. Yeah.
Okay, nice. So, what I want to find out is the artists walk up to you and they put their issues before you and you deal with it, right?
Yes, that's basically what happens. Yes.
Okay. So,
yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So now, let's use Max Romeo as a case study over here because in recent times, he issued a statement, you understand me, that over 47 years of his career, he's not, got any royalties from Universal, music. You understand me? And he is taking them to court. And I'm asking myself that 47 years of your career, so all these years, what exactly were you doing to pursue that particular royalties? And after 47 years now, you are now going to fight for it? So
I would ask the same question, and my response to that situation, many of in the music industry, oftentimes without getting guidance from a manager, maybe because they do not have a manager, or because they do not get the manager involved in the discussion of the business that they're about being properly represented in a business that is very complex. It's a very complicated business, and I find artists often sign into contracts that they sometimes don't even read. Sometimes they don't understand what is included in the contract. And a music contract, as I said before, can be very complex. So it's not the type of document or arrangement that someone should get into without having a person, providing expert advice as to what exactly the relationship is that they're about to sign off to. And because there are a lot of cases of poor representation, you'll find that years will pass and nothing is done, effectively to address a situation that has gone wrong or is going wrong. And it's a question of lack of representation, which often, especially from the Rastafari community, comes from an attitude of, not wanting to get into documentation. I mean, even the recent situation regarding Luciano, if you were to look at some of the comments that came from persons who saw the excerpt from his interview, there were a lot of comments from persons within the Rastafari community that suggested that, a contract is something designed to con you, that's a perception, but I find that most people end up conning themselves, by not getting proper representation. When someone presents you with an agreement, you need to have it properly looked at so that it is representing your interest before you sign off on it. And don't approach it as if to say someone is coming to try and con you. Yeah, that might very, very well be the case because there are a lot of con people in the music industry. But the obligation is on you to ensure that you are not conned or you're not conning yourself.
Wow. The obligation is onto you yourself. It's either you yourself, you're not conning yourself. On that note, man, or allowing yourself to be conned by another person. You know what I mean? Say it by Lloyd. Now, in the case of Max Romeo now, 47 years, after 47 years, he's going to pursue for his royalties from Universal Music Group. As an attorney, do you think he's going to win the case?
Your voice is cutting out again. I can hardly hear what you just said.
Easy.
Oh, God. Lloyd, you can hear me? Lloyd, you can hear me?
I hear you, but it's very low. It keeps going up and down. I don't know what's happening on your end.
Wow.
It's fine. It's fine now. Yeah, I'm hearing you now. You could repeat the question. Yes.
Okay. So I am asking whether, in the case of Max Romeo, do you think he's going to win this particular case against Universal Music Group after 47 years?
Yeah, I don't have all the details of his case, but typically, when lawsuits are filed against someone or some entity, in most jurisdictions, most countries, there is what is called a statute of limitations, which prevents you from making claims beyond a certain number of years, and it varies depending on the type of claim that you're making. So the first reaction I would have is that it's hardly likely that Max Romeo is going to succeed, even if he wins the case, in claiming, what he lost over a 47-year period. Chances are that there's going to be a cutoff point after which he will not be able to benefit from succeeding in the case if he does succeed. So that's another reason why, you have to address issues promptly and not wait forever, or wait until you're in your retirement years to try and get compensation for something that you have been wronged about many years prior. So I really don't have the details of the Max Romeo case to, give an opinion as to whether I think he's going to be successful or not.
All right. So in this case now, being an attorney and all that, how do we step into the business field as artists? I want you to, give us some free consultation over here. As an artist, how do you step in the line in terms of, doing music business? How do you step in? How do you put your things so that at the end of the day, you wouldn't face the same issues as, Max Romeo now?
I think the first thing an artist need to recognize is that you're getting into a very complicated business, and you should have a team around you to help you to maneuver through this business that you're getting into. And the first member of your team should be a manager. Yeah. And the manager would be someone that you're gonna entrust with the responsibility to provide guidance and to find the right support persons that you're gonna need to move your career forward. And those support persons will include someone who is gonna provide legal advice, someone who is going to assist you with getting booked for your engagements, someone who is going to assist you with publicity issues. And there are other persons who work along with an artist. So you have to assemble a team of persons around you to guide you through, because it is very complicated, which is why you have so many disputes and so many lawsuits and so many fights and arguments and friends becoming enemies, because they get involved in a business that they didn't think through properly. They never got advice or proper advice, and things go wrong along the way, and it results in a dispute. So yes, you need to assemble a team. That's the first thing you need to do, if you're serious about pursuing the business of music. And your first team member should be a manager, and that manager should be someone who has an understanding of how the music business works, and who also knows the right people, to connect you with, so that you can get through this maze of, complicated issues that you have to address, as a musician, a performer, or a music producer. So yes, you need to put together a team of persons to work along with you. It's not something that you can do alone, and try to be successful. I don't know of any artist in reggae or anywhere else who has been successful globally without having representation. We all like to point to and sometimes even criticize Bob Marley, but if you were to look at Bob Marley, he had a lot of representation. He had lawyers, he had managers, he had a team of people always around him, creative directors, persons who guided, provided advice throughout his career. And apart from his extraordinary talent, that's a significant part of the reason why Marley is so successful and continues to be successful, even though he's not with us in the flesh. He had a team of representatives and still does have people representing his legacy.
Oh, okay. So the main thing is you need to have a solid team.
Yes.
That you should work with. You understand me? In terms of what about in terms of where your music should be? Maybe signing up with maybe big record labels and all that. How does that work for an artist in terms of if the record label contact you and they want to work with you? What exactly should the artist do?
If a record label contacts you as an artist, wants to work with you, you should be having a conversation with your manager. That's the very first thing you should be doing. Yeah, you should be having a conversation with your manager about this proposal that is coming from the record company, and you should have your manager involved throughout the process. And at the appropriate time, you should, and if you are presented with a contract, you should have your manager, and you should have an attorney review the contract and discuss it with you and explain to you, what's in it and get from you what your desires are and negotiate on your behalf to ensure that your desires are included in the contract if the person proposing the contract is prepared to agree to your desires. So there has to be a discussion between you, the artist, your management, your legal representative, and whoever is representing the record label that is proposing this, let's say, distribution or recording deal to you.
Okay. So, what advice would you give to an artist who is going into, such deal? You understand me? If you are supposed to advise the artist legally that, listen, you have to do A, B, C, D, S, Y, Z. What exactly are you going to tell this particular artist or this creative person who wants to step in the line? Especially, I know your specialty is into music. So, in terms of music now, what exactly would be that advice for that artist?
Well, it depends on the contract that is presented to the artist. So there are various types of deals that are proposed to artists. But whatever the deal is, the advice to the artist from me would be, and this is just general advice I'm giving here.
Mm-hmm.
You should, as I said before, you should look at the document. Yes, you, the artist, should read through the document, and you should also discuss the document with your manager.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the very first steps that you should take. You should read the document and you should discuss it with your manager, and between yourself and your manager, you have a position. This is what we want.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Because the contract is going to come to you saying what, for example, the record company wants. Because it's prepared by the record company and sent to you. So you and your manager go through it and you decide what it is you want and, how you're going to counter propose, and you engage the services of an attorney. Or if the manager and yourself are capable enough, you can, communicate with the label who has presented you this proposal. But the ideal situation is to engage an attorney to represent you, the artist, working on your behalf.
Okay.
To sort through the agreement, working along with the attorney who is representing the company that has sent it to you.
Okay. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, 39 going into the hour one here on Asaase Radio, the voice of our land.
Easy.
Yeah, man, 99.5 in Accra, 98.5 in Kumasi, 100.3 in Cape Coast, and 99.7 in Tamale.
Easy.
We're talking music business. From last week till now, trust me, we've been talking music business. So if you're an artist and you are in tune, pick your pen and paper, begin to jot down points. You understand me? We spoke about publishing and all that, and now we're talking from another angle altogether.
Easy.
Now, in recent time, there was a video circulating on Facebook. Luciano was putting a lot of fire on this gentleman over here. No, it was serious. He was calling him wicked and all that kind of thing and all that. But within a few days, we've seen another video of Luciano apologizing, to Lloyd Stanbury for what he said. You understand me? He said actually he actually had a conversation with Lloyd. But let's listen to the apology that Luciano rendered, and then we'll come and talk to Lloyd back. Joseph, if we're ready, let's play the apology and then we will move forward.
Easy.
Greetings and salutations to all my fans out there, members of the music fraternity and the reggae industry. You may have seen a video recently where I'm burning out Mr. Lloyd Stanbury, calling him a wicked, and that lightning should lick him and all these things. He has explained to me that he had not acted in the capacity as VP's lawyer. Neither was he representing me legally. And he was not the one who constructed that contract. He was only facilitating the signing of the contract at his office. So I stand corrected, Mr. Lloyd Stanbury, and I apologize greatly, sir. Please accept my humble apology. To all my fans out there, bear with me while I try to understand what took place. I had intention to do one album for VP, but I ended up binding myself in a 4-album deal. This I must deal with separate and apart from Mr. Lloyd Stanbury. But in the meantime, between time, Mr. Lloyd Stanbury, I publicly apologize to you, sir. Hope you accept my humble apology. God bless. Enough respect every time.
Easy.
Asaase Radio, Asaase Radio, Asaase Radio.
So, Lloyd, I would like to find out
Yes.
from you whether you've accepted this apology, wholeheartedly.
100%. Yeah, I totally accept Luciano's apology. And I understand, how he feels. What happened is that he, in his first interview, he made false statements about what really transpired when he came to my office. And those false statements suggested that I somehow misled him, and that caused him to sign a contract that had terms in it that he was not in full agreement with. And the terms he's questioning in particular is the fact that he thought that he was doing a one album deal with VP Records. And as it turns out, the contract he signed is giving VP not just a 1-album deal, but an option to have 3 additional albums. You should make it a 4-album deal if they exercised all their options. So that's a misunderstanding he had. But he explained his circumstances by making false statements, and making other statements as well, which impugned my credibility as an attorney. And I've spent most of my life trying to represent on behalf of artists. So I spoke to him about it, and the situation was clarified as to what exactly transpired when he came to my office. I was not representing Luciano, neither was I representing VP Records when he came to my office. So that's not the case at all. I've never ever represented VP Records. But I do understand how he feels about the fact that he thought he was signing for 1 album, but he actually did sign for 4, and that has been something that he has been carrying for over 20 years. And for some reason, he expressed his feelings based on his misunderstanding in that interview. And after explaining to him, he recognized that it was a mistake, he apologized, and I wholeheartedly accept his apology.
All right, so it means that when Lucci got the contract, he didn't read the contract to understand it, right?
When Luciano got the contract, he never did any of the things that I spoke about earlier. When you asked me, what should an artist do?
Mm-hmm.
He admitted himself that he never read it. I think he had a manager at the time, as I'm now finding out. Apparently, he never discussed it with his manager at the time. And he never consulted with an attorney, because he was not consulting with me when he came to my office, because I was never engaged as his attorney. So he never did any of the things that I said earlier that an artist should do. But for some reason, whether he was being pressured by VP or whether he wanted to make certain moves and he couldn't make those moves unless he signed the contract, he was obviously in a hurry to sign the contract. and he signed the contract without taking the necessary steps to ensure that he's protecting himself. Yeah. And that's basically what happened.
So earlier on, you made mention of, especially in the Rastafari sector, a lot of the artists are adamant about contract and all that. They don't really read it. They criticize people falsely. Even though these guys sing about peace, love, and unity and all that, they are the quicker to say, yo, the man snitch on me, yo, it's a kind of bad mind, this, that. Yo, hang him, this, that. Why do you think these things are popular in the Rastafari sector?
Well, I am going to refer to a comment that Rastafarian brethren of mine has made, and he makes it, on numerous occasions, profile, and he said, Rastafari is not a business, but reggae music is a business.
Mm-hmm.
And in the book that I said I wrote, there was a whole chapter dealing with Rastafari and reggae, and there are a lot of beliefs within the Rastafari community which do not make sense to me. The belief that a contract is something designed to con you, and therefore you should stay away from it. It is absolutely ridiculous. Yeah, because you're writing songs, singing music, producing music that give you certain rights.
Mm-hmm.
Rights that would allow you to earn for not just yourself, but your family and your community, and provide you with the opportunity to uplift yourself, to be self-reliant, as Marcus Garvey always taught us to be. Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
As Haile Selassie always taught us to be. So to come with this concept that I don't deal with contracts because it's conning me is absolutely absurd, if you ask me. Yeah. And coming from the Rastafari community, that is nonsense. Yeah. And I will say that to any Rastaman. Yeah. That you must protect what is yours. And to protect what is yours, you need to ensure that you have the appropriate agreement with whoever you're doing business with. Mm-hmm. But for some reason, there's this perception that the paperwork is designed to trap you, and you're only going to be trapped if you are uninformed or if you don't take the necessary steps to educate yourself about the relationship you're getting into with someone else.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Easy.
Oh my God, 49 going into the one.
Easy.
Here on Asaase Radio, the voice of our land.
Easy.
Please, let's stick to music business and let's put faith aside.
Easy.
Music is business, so let's treat it as such. You know what I mean?
Easy.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, so please, to all my reggae artists, you understand me? You can have your belief, all right? Nobody will fight you in terms of your belief and all that. But when it comes to music, don't bring that. You know what I mean?
Easy.
Because this is business. That is what they say, give what belongs unto Caesar to Caesar. You understand me? and take what belongs to Jesus to Jesus. You see it?
Easy.
So it's simple as the word A, B, C, D. You know what I mean? Lloyd, I know you are a busy person and you have a lot of run-ins and all that kind of thing. You understand me? But, wrapping up on this particular issues of, artists being adamant in terms of their works and in terms of they not wanting to sign contracts and all that kind of thing, and they end up, years after coming back and say, yo, I can't believe this record label is so wicked. Look how them deal with me. And all these years I've been on the road working and all that, I am left with nothing. I need to sue them and all that. What advice would you give them in terms of wrapping up
Well, I'm gonna go back to the same advice, you know, and it's not too much to keep repeating it because I've been saying this for probably 40 years. You know, you need to get proper representation.
You've been saying this
You
for
n-
40 years and people are still
Yeah.
falling
In the
victims.
same trap, same trap. You know,
Yeah.
I've said it. You know, I've said it in many ways. You know, I've said it on radio. I've said it in lectures. I've said it in workshops. I wrote a book. Yeah, but as they say, you know, if you want to hide things from black people, you put it in a book.
You
So
put it
I
in a
think I
book.
did the wrong thing by writing a book. I should probably just sit and talk about what's in the book. You know, so it's very simple. Music business is very complicated. It's not straightforward. It's very complicated. And if you don't get representation and you don't try to increase your knowledge of how the business works, you're going to trick yourself. You're going to keep thinking that someone is tricking you, but you're actually tricking yourself by remaining ignorant to the business that you're getting involved in. So it doesn't make sense to keep approaching it with that kind of attitude where it is set up to deceive you and mislead you. No, it probably is, and it is in some instances where persons are just trying to get the best out of it for themselves and they don't really care about you. That is a reality in the music industry. And that is all the more reason why you have to get representation.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Easy.
Lloyd, I would like to say thank you so much for your time and space.
Easy.
And thanks for having me, you know, and big up to your listeners throughout Ghana and those online around the rest of the world. And keep up the good work that you've been doing, yeah?
Give thanks, Lloyd. And if anything, we will get back to you.
No problem, anytime.
All right.
Thank you.
Give thanks.
Easy.